Hey guys, Rado here with Dirt and Iron. We are here today with 2019 CRF250RX, and we're gonna take it through some interesting trails. We are on the top of this rather technical trail that I need to take on a first gear all the time, up and down, and then we're gonna take it something faster. Maybe we do a little bit of jumping on my track, do a little bit log jumping, and just see how this bike performs on all kinds of terrains. So stick around. Certain places where I felt this bike is really shining, and then there are certain places where I felt that this bike could do better if there would be slight changes in engine, suspension, or things like that. So first I took it on this uphill first, second gear, a lot of loose racks, and it's kind of steep, and it did okay, but I think if I should pick one place where it did the worst, it would be uphill on those big racks, a lot of loose racks, and I just didn't feel 100%, you know, like I felt that the bike is I'm not 100% in the control. For the first, the suspension was not too plush. Like this is a race bike, and it's coming from the R model, right, from the motocross bike. So the suspension is a little bit softer than your motocross bike, but it wasn't soft enough. It wasn't plush enough to kind of cope with all those little rocks and bumps and, you know, roots that you have when you go up that hill in the first gear. So I found myself kind of fighting too much to find my balance and stay on a bike without, you know, touching the ground. And also as I was going uphill, sometimes I had to clutch it a little bit, you know, let the clutch slip a little bit, because I felt that the engine doesn't have the pull right from the bottom. So on those uphill, if you go on the something technical and you stay in the first gear, second gear, and you want to have this bike as your trail bike, and you stay most of the time on a single track, I think you will find this bike was not really made for something like that. You'll probably be happier on a little bit different models. This one did okay, but it's not what is it made for. Let's just jump right up to the best riding that I had on this bike, and that was definitely on my track. You know, I have this little backyard track where I have a few jumps, I can go a little bit faster, I have a few turns, and, you know, I can maybe hit like 40-foot or 50-foot jumps. This bike was super happy on something like that. You know, all that power this bike makes, a lot of power in the mid to high RPM, and I could stay in that range on the track, and this bike was phenomenal. Really, the pull it has in the high RPM was just great, and I enjoyed it a lot. You know, like if I can always stay on the gas, if I can stay aggressively in that RPM, then the bike is just super fast, it pulls, and it's a lot of fun to ride. You know, I had a lot of fun. I could clear everything. I was even long to all these jumps, and the suspension here on the track, it did amazing. Even though I was a little bit long and I landed flat after the jump, I didn't hit the landing. It did amazing. I didn't feel anything funny, just soak all the jumps. I think this one is set to 170. I'm currently 190, so it probably will feel even better if it is set to my weight. But even with this stock setting completely, when it come from the bikes like this. It felt really great when I was a little more aggressive. I was riding fast, I was taking some jumps. This bike really felt great. Then we went and took it on a little bit flowy trails where I could go third, fourth gear, keep it also in a higher RPM, maybe 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour in you know, different sections. Faster, a little more flow, and again, this bike felt really great on something like that. So definitely you can tell that it was built with the race mindset, that people who designed this bike, they really made it as a race bike. So you want to enjoy it, you want to get 100% out of this bike, you need to be on the gas, you need to be a little more aggressive, you need to, you know, stay on the gas, take those jumps. The suspension is great if you are a little bit faster. It's not going to do anything funny. It would really work well for you if you are a little more aggressive. So that's really what I felt. Everything slow I did on the bike, I felt that it could be a little bit better. Suspension can be a little bit plusher, softer. The bottom power could be there, you know, for those slow technical stuff. I had to clutch it all the time, and it just wasn't the best. I mean, I could do everything. I could do it. If you have this bike and occasionally you go on the single track, yeah, you can do it. You can keep up with other guys. But if the single track is your main thing you do, then probably you should look at some other bikes. But overall, yeah, it was a great package. And then also I took it on the lags I have, you know, little hard enduro, just jumping some lags. And you know, you clutch it in first and wheelie into the lag and then try to jump and give it a second blip and jump over the lag. And it did fine. I could go over the big lag I have there. It did okay. Maybe I felt like it could have a little more punch from the bottom, so it will help me to get up on the lag. But I could still do it. It still looked okay. It wasn't too underpowered. It was decent. Now, if you are really good in stuff like that, you can give it a second blip on the clutch. I mean, you can pull the clutch in a second time and you can do it no problem. I'm not really that good in jumping the lag, so I usually go on the clutch when I do first wheelie, and then just go on the throttle to do the second blip, and then jump up on the lag. So for me, it was okay. It could be better if you do, you know, double clutch, but it wasn't bad at all. So overall, man, I had a lot of fun. It performed okay everywhere, and it was great on the track, and it was great on the fast trails that flows. So if you go on the desert, if you go on the fast trails, and sometimes you take it on the track jumping, you can expect this bike to perform really great. If you are a slow guy to go on a single track, it would not be amazing. You can still do it, but it would not be amazing. Now, interestingly, you know, it's kind of ironic, is that this bike does really well when you go fast, but it does not have a 6th gear. So it would be really amazing if for 2020 these guys, the Honda guys, will come up with a 6th gear, a little bit longer gear, and the first gear is a little bit slower, so you can do the technical thing, and it also will have a little more torque if it's a little slower, so you can climb those hills and, you know, be on those loose rocks, technical terrain. And then when you want to open it up on the desert, and you want to go like 70-80 miles an hour, you can just hit that 6th gear and, you know, pin it and fly on the desert. When I go full throttle now, I think you can see it on the video, I did 65 or something like that. I would definitely be happy if this thing comes with a 6th gear that is long, and I can just hit it when I'm on those connecting trails, on the desert, open trails and stuff like that. Alright guys, well, overall I had a blast. it's a cool bike. Thanks, I'm really grateful to Dirt Bike TV and to Honda that we had a chance to review this bike, ride it, and tell you guys what I think about it. I try to be 100% honest how I feel about the bike. This is the way I see it, and this is 100% stock bike. I want to emphasize it again. So Jay Clark from Dirt Bike TV is gonna take this bike and build it completely, put big bore on it, dyno, different ignition, all that kind of good stuff. So when we get it back to our channel, we should be able to test it again, and also suspension will be done by some aftermarket shop. So I think we will, not me, but Jay will change this bike to something really great, because the base is amazing. If you just tweak those little things, you're gonna get a really great package. So I cannot wait to have this bike tweaked back here on the channel, and we're gonna do a follow-up test of this pretty cool 250RX. Alright guys, that's about it for today, and don't forget, whatever you do, stay motivated. See you guys later.